is BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.
And Runaround Sue sounds like the kind of gal that my next guest might just write about. Paige Toon lives in Cambridge, but originally grew up in Australia and America, been around the world. She used to work for a Heat magazine and then got married, had kids, moved to Cambridge and started writing. And it's been a runaway train, the writing.
It sure has.
And there's another one about to be published, and you've got an early copy in front of you.
I do, yeah. These are proof copies, so very, very early. It was handed to me yesterday afternoon, so it's the first time I've had proofs this early, so it's very exciting.
What's that moment like when you see it in a cover like that, something you've been working away, presumably at home, for months on? Yeah,
it still feels very, very surreal. I mean, I still remember being asked that question when my first book came out almost 10 years ago, and you just even now I'll see my books on the bookshelf and just sort of think, my God, did I really write that? I can't. It's still a pinch me moment every time.
How many books have you written?
Well, I've written 13. I write a young adult series as well as a women's fiction series. So I've got 2 coming out this year, but the women's fiction one is my 10th adult novel. So it's quite a big deal in my publishing industry.
Absolutely it is. And I was worried in case you'd be upset because I hadn't read your books. But they're not meant for me, are they?
They are most definitely not meant for you, Chris.
Am I not allowed to read them because I'd pick up clues or something?
I would avoid them. Definitely not. Let's not give the game away.
So what makes a chick lit book?
I would say, chick lit for me is like the literary equivalent of a rom-com. It's a romantic sort of, can be light-hearted, but can also have some quite deep, sort of tearful moments, heart-wrenching moments, and that's how I define chick lit.
So modern day Mills and Boon, perhaps, is that right?
Hopefully, maybe on a slightly higher level of quality than Mills and Boon. That sounds terrible. Sophistication, no. Yeah. But they're about 100,000 words, so they're quite meaty if you're going to sit down with the good holiday reads. They're page turners. That's how I define them.
It's the 600th anniversary of Cambridge University Library. I don't know if you know that, but I was given a sneak preview last week of the new exhibition, which is now opened. And I didn't realise, but the library, every single book published in the UK, one copy has to go to Cambridge University Library.
Didn't know that.
Your books will be in there, all of them, one of each of them.
Excellent.
But they've got everything going back for hundreds of years. So they've got all the Mills and Boons in there, all the early Penguins. They've got train timetables, everything.
Brilliant.
So go and ask to take out one of your books. It'll be there.
I grew up on Mills and Boon, so maybe I need a little bit of a blast from the past.
So how did you get started? One of your early books, One Perfect Summer, was actually set in Cambridge, wasn't it?
It was. It's half set in Cambridge and the first half is set in Dorset. And we moved to Cambridge at the point that I was writing the heroine moving to Cambridge. So that was really just so magical, researching the city that would become my home, because so many of my books they take place in exotic locations around the world, sort of warm and sunny countries, and I, that's the hardest part of the research, is having to travel to Key West, for example, or LA.
Tough.
But you feel like you actually own a part of the place that you're researching. You sort of feel like it's home because you've had to imagine your characters living there and working there and playing there, falling in love there. And so to be able to do that sort of research for Cambridge, just walking across the bridges and the colleges, and I had to do quite a lot of research about the different colleges and the punting. My character, she gets a punting job. She doesn't go to university at the University of Cambridge. She goes to Anglia Ruskin, and it was just really fun. Really, really enjoyed it. And to be able to now live here, every time I walk across like King's College Bridge, I still have that feeling of One Perfect Summer.
It's lovely to hear. And we've got some friends in common, I can reveal to people. So I'm just wondering if any of them are in your books. Do you sit there maybe over dinner, or you're at whatever you're doing with your friends, chatting over coffee, think, Catherine would work well in my book. I'm just plucking your name out of the air.
Actually, funny you should say that. In a book a couple of years ago, 13 Weddings, there's a scene where they all go to this house in Spain, and Catherine and I went on holiday together to the same house in Spain, and every night we were like making the sangria, sitting out on the balcony with like tea lights and candles, and so I actually thanked her in the acknowledgements for that one.
Okay. So the new book is about to be on the shelves. How long? So you've got the proof copy there.
I do.
Okay. And you're going to exclusively read some of it for us.
That's
is that
right. Yep.
Which is a real treat.
Anybody out there listening? I think there were a couple of some bloggers heard it last night, but anyone listening will be the first people to hear this. So yes,
So the book is called The One We Fell in Love With.
that's right. And it's well, I'm just going to read it actually and
Okay.
see what you think.
Paige Toon.
Okay, this is the first half of the prologue. There are 2 parts of the prologue, and I think we're going to read one part now and one part later. So this is told from the perspective of Angus, who is the one that they fell in love with. She's here. The people around here are mistaken. They don't all look alike. She's different. She's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I watch her in a daze through the crowded, smoky air as she gets herself a drink. I want to go over to her, but I stay where I am, leaning against the doorframe. After what happened last night, she has to come to me. Suddenly, her eyes lock with mine. She smiles at me and the relief is instant. I jerk my head backwards, willing her to come over. Still smiling, she slowly makes her way through the packed space, squeezing through bodies until she's right in front of me. Hey, I say, reaching down to touch my fingertips to hers. Hi, she closes her hands into a fist. Okay, so we're not cool. I run my thumb across her temple, and she puts her hand on my chest. I think she's trying to keep me at bay, but it's not working. Her touch almost does me in. God, I'm drunk. I take her hands and pull her closer. Angus? She sounds uncertain as I rest my forehead against hers. I know I'm making her uncomfortable in front of all these people, but I need to be with her. I want her so much. Too much. Determination surges through me. Come with me, I say firmly, putting our drinks on a nearby table. I grab her hand and tug her out of the living room. My head is spinning as I push open the door to the cloakroom under the stairs. I pull her inside and hear her gasp as I slam the door shut behind her. Then my mouth is on hers. I want you, I say, and she silences me with fast, hungry kisses. Someone turns a doorknob, and I whip my palm out from underneath her T-shirt and slam it against the door, keeping it shut. Go upstairs, I shout, locking the door. Whoops, I laugh under my breath, but she's tensed again. What are you doing? She asks, even more breathless than before. What do you think I'm doing? I ask in a low voice, kissing her neck. We're picking up from where we left off last night. She needs to know what she does to me. Angus, stop, she says loudly. Ice freezes my stomach and I jerk away from her, reaching for the pull cord to flood the room with light. She flinches at the brightness, instinctively lifting her hands up to block it. She squints at me from under the shade of her fingers, and I stare back at her with horror. Same greeny gold eyes, same light blonde hair. Not the same girl. Oh, I say, I thought you were... ...
Oh, getting a bit steamy there, Paige.
Do you know what? I actually had to edit out quite a lot of that to read on radio. There's way more in the book.
Thank goodness for that. So where do you write all this stuff? And what time of day are you writing this kind of video?
I have to write when the kids are in school, so it's daytime. That's my day job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone's all right out there listening to the...
That was nothing.
I think Emma's a bit flushed out there. We'll get her view of it in a moment or two. We're going to hear the ladies' side next, is
Yes,
that right?
yeah.
Okay, all right. But first of all...
BBC Radio Cambridge.